I'm Janet Martin, and welcome to today's Dialog on Comcast. Our guest today is no stranger to this show, and he's no stranger to many of you. He's been on this show before talking about various projects that he's been involved in, and one of his favorite projects is really a labor of love for him, are the stories that he tells about Councill Court, which is where he grew up, where he has produced a documentary that talks about the last few years of Councill Court, actually from 1952 to 2009. And because it is somewhat of a historical look at Councill Court, you know, we thought what better time of the year during Black History Month than to kind of debut this documentary, although some of you may have already seen it because he was fortunate enough to have it aired on the Huntsville City television station, which is Channel 16 here on Comcast. So we're going to be showing you kind of snippets of it, but we're going to be talking to the producer of Councill Court, A History of Love, Antonio Howard, after this. Hello and welcome back. As we said in the opening, our guest today is Antonio Howard, and Antonio is no stranger to this show. As a matter of fact, I was kind of trying to think back, Antonio, and welcome. I was trying to think back, how many years ago did we meet? Because it's been several. Because I think the first time I interviewed you may have been over at the house that Jeanette had for the museum.
Farther than that, farther back than that. It was 97.
Wow.
97.
Wow. 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So we've known one another that long.
Yeah. That long.
You've been at it a long time.
Long time. Long time.
You know, and I hope you appreciate when I call this a labor of love for you, because
That's what it is.
You know, you're not doing this for, you know, to get rich by it. As a matter of fact, you're probably dipping into your pocket most of the time that you're doing projects.
I am.
But the thing is, you're doing positive work. And everything you do, there's a message in it, and hopefully people get that message. I mean, you are a hardworking man, you're a family man. You do rap, but I don't want to call you a rapper because that's for a lot of people that has kind of a negative connotation.
Right.
But everything you have has a positive message in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're here to talk today about this newest project. I'm going to hold this up because this is kind of what the cover looks like. Councill Court, A History of Love. And it really, truly is a history of love. Yeah. And as I said in the opening, the Huntsville City channel, which is Channel 16 here on Comcast, has aired this, and they're going to, I guess, continue to air it throughout the month.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's been airing, I guess, on Saturdays?
On Saturdays. Yeah. Saturdays at 2 a.m.
Okay.
And Saturdays at 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
And they're actually, and this is actually 2 hours, but they're doing it a kind of a 1 hour edited down version of it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to actually tell you before we leave today how they can get their copy of it, because you guys watched the whole thing. You gotta watch the whole thing. But talk to me a little bit about why was this something that you wanted to do?
Well, I felt like, you know, growing up out there, I had somebody ask me, you know, how long did it take to film this? And I said, if you want a broad answer, it took from 1952 to 2009.
Yeah.
And, you know, growing up out there, I spent my first 16 years out there. That's where I became who I am. And it's something about that place. I don't know what it is, but everybody that you see being interviewed on here, this August 2010 will be 20 years that I've been from Councill Court. And everybody that you see being interviewed, they have been gone from Councill Court for at least 10 years.
Really?
Everybody, at least. So something is bringing us back to this place, and I think it's love. And that's the reason why I did it, was because of love. I wanted to give us something to hold on to, because we have some things, but we don't have anything like this that we can hold on to.
And plus now, I mean, Councill Court is no longer.
Yeah.
And then to have something like this that not only you can hold on to, but I mean, you've got children that your children can hold on to, and they can see where you came from. Yeah. And you know, something you talked about this being a project of love, and everybody who's in it having been gone for like, you know, 10, 20 years or longer. they still have this huge sense of pride. And you can tell by looking at this. I mean, just the first few minutes, I mean, it comes out that Councill Court, while it was public housing, and and people have, again, this negative connotation about public housing, you never got that from this.
No.
It was a neighborhood, and everybody looked after everybody else. And one of the scenes in here, it's like two sisters who they were standing in front of their 307A Pelham. I remember that. And they were talking about the older lady who lived like a few doors down or something, and Miss somebody. Can't remember her name now. But that, she would always kind of look out and be nosy and see what was going on. But she was, I think, doing it because she wanted to see what the kids were up to.
It was discipline.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But as a kid, you don't
look
at
it
it that way.
Yeah.
It's only until you get older and you have your own children.
And you appreciate it.
And you appreciate it.
Yeah. That somebody cared about you.
Yeah.
And then somebody, it may have been these same two sisters who said, if you got in trouble out, or you were out playing or out doing something, whatever adult was there, you'd get it from them. And before you got home, your parents would already know about it, you'd get it from them.
Exactly.
And the thing is, it wasn't any kind of abuse. I mean, most of us grew up like that.
Right.
You knew if you got in trouble at somebody's house, they were going to get you, and you knew you were going to get it at home too.
Right.
And I think that's part of, we have a lost generation. We've gotten so far away from that.
Yeah, we need to go back to it.
Yeah.
We really
We
do.
do.
Yeah.
And you talk, we hear the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And that's so true, and that's what you see in this.
Yeah, yes, that's what it. This is what it was.
Yeah.
Like I say, it was a place of love, and I was telling one of my classmates, I went to Blossomwood, Huntsville Middle, and Huntsville Highway.
Yeah.
He didn't live in Councill Court, but I saw this guy 5 days a week. I saw the people in Councill Court 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And just growing up, we saw each other every day. We all ate the same thing. We all dressed alike. It was we
family.
were one. It was one big family.
Yeah.
We grew up in different homes, but we all lived in the same house.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you decided, because you covered 57 years of time with this documentary in 2 hours. How do you go about deciding who to put in, who not to put in, what to talk about, what not to talk about?
The process I went through with this, I wanted 4 subjects that I wanted to grab a hold first.
Okay.
And one was bootlegging.
And when you hear bootlegging, it's not what particularly the young people think about bootlegging, like an illegal video. That's not at all what it was about.
Right. It was kind of a social gathering.
It's what a lot of people I think would call a speakeasy or a shot house.
Exactly.
And if you grew up during that time, you know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I wanted to cover bootlegging. I wanted to cover a guy named John Taft, who was an awesome athlete.
Who went to Marshall University.
Went to Marshall.
Yeah.
Went to Marshall, got his jersey retired, second all-time leading scorer in Marshall history, and he's a product of Councill Court, born and raised. This guy was born on the day Martin Luther King got assassinated.
Wow.
So he has a beautiful story. Also Dennis Eason, and I wanted to talk about Turner's Thriller. He was a remarkable person.
And not growing up here and living here, and just hearing all the stories. I mean, and I grew up in Tennessee, not very far from here, but it's amazing how 45 miles, people live in 2 different worlds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Not even just, right now.
And some of the stuff that happened in here, I grew up, because I grew up during that time and I was familiar with it. But a lot of what was happening, even in Huntsville, I didn't have a clue about.
Yeah. Well, some of this stuff has been laying dormant for years, such as the sanitation strike. And when I, speak about that, I'm the type of person, if I'm seeking something, if I seek too hard, I won't find it.
Yeah.
And I've been searching for this. No one knew the date. They just kept throwing, it happened in 69. No, it happened in 73.
Yeah.
And I sat back and I let it come to me. And I called a guy who I thought that would know. And he directed me to my aunt. And my aunt said, I was pregnant at the time with your cousin.
So
she was born in 71. And I went to the newspaper and I dug until I found it. And like I said, that's been